Justin, thank you very much for speaking to the Aussie Wire. We're here in the atrium at the launch of the Alliance for Responsible Citizenship. We've got people having tea and coffee all around us, so apologies for the background noise, everybody. Now, Justin, what brings you to ARC? Why? What's the value here?
I think the value is that we've needed a better story, as they've said here, and it's really important to bring so many people together. We're facing similar issues around the world. We've heard about demography, we've heard about housing, we've heard about immigration, all issues which are faced by the English, that are faced by Europeans, Australians and Americans. So it's really an important opportunity to bring people together and recognise that you're not alone. So often you might feel like a silent voice, you're shouted down by a noisy minority, so it's so refreshing to have that energy in the same room at last.
So a silent voice, there's something that you're trying to say that you don't feel, or until you come to a place like this, you don't feel others agree with. What is that? What are you trying to say?
Yes, I think that a lot of folks will empathise with the feeling that in Australia, for example, where I come from, we had a referendum about the voice to Parliament, and there were so many people, lawyers, including people like myself, who you get this impression that other lawyers, they're all in one side of the camp, and if you pop your head above the parapet, then you're just verboten. You're in the exterior darkness. And so this is an opportunity to recognise you're not alone, and for those people who want to contribute to public discourse, to have the courage to do so.
All right, so we're talking about discourse. The whole theme of ARC is a better story, a better discourse, but not just a discourse, a story to tell. What is this better story? What does that mean?
I think the better story is one of human flourishing. For a long time, it seems to me that there's been a real focus on economic issues on the right. Now, those are important, but they don't speak to the human experience. They don't really sink into the meat and potatoes of mums and dads raising their kids, thinking about the values of their families, what they want to have, what life they want to have when they're growing older. And when we've been focusing on simple issues and metrics like GDP, it doesn't account for the totality of the human person. And so I think the new story, the better story, which has been focused on here, is that transcendental understanding of truth, beauty, goodness, and human flourishing rather than mere economic units.
You could almost say truth, freedom, and hope might be a.
I think so. I think there's definitely been truth, freedom, and hope here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Now we're in the afternoon of the second day, so you've heard a number of the speakers already.
Yes.
I came into this hoping that ARC was going to live up to its promises. It's talking about this pro-human vision, this better story.
Yes.
Do you believe that they're living up to the claims and the standards and the promises that they've made?
Yes, absolutely. I think a great example of that was Michael Schellenberger yesterday, that pro-human focus and understanding that climate alarmism is just that, alarmism. It doesn't focus on the benefits that humanity have wreaked on the earth. And there was a great phrase yesterday, which I've definitely put in my notebook, is that a baby isn't just born with an empty stomach, but with two hands and a brain. It shows just how much capacity we have to do great good on the world, rather than simply being seen as a parasitic force, which many on the left, many in the establishment would have you believe, to facilitate their financial redistribution.
That's a beautiful, better story. But I guess that begs the question, what went wrong with our old story? Why do we need to replace it with a better one?
Well, I think that the old story, if I can say so, was rooted in issues in the post-Second World War compact, particularly probably from about the 1970s and into the 80s, issues of economic reform, globalization, and in the early 90s, this concept of the end of history, which Francis Fukuyama spoke about. And I think that was probably a bit of a prideful position for people in the West to take, and it made us lazy, and it made us forget that in fact values are not automatically going to be transferred to our children. We have to actively hand on our traditions. And so the old story, I think, was too focused on economic outcomes, frankly. It didn't really focus on human positions and human experiences. And in those circumstances, we needed to find a story that engaged with the totality of what it is to be a person.
How do we know if this is working? What is a measure of success for ARC? What makes this successful?
Well, I think that this is the cornucopia at the beginning. All the ideas, all the people, all the resources are here. And the key goal is to take away those relationships and go back to our own countries, to our own communities, and put into practice those things that we've learned here. And as I said before, the great advantage of this particular event is the fact that it gives people the courage to do so. So
Sure.
everyone here goes back to their own country, their own town, their own city, their own families, and they can be leaders in that space and take that message, take that news story, and spread it in their own territory.
Justin, thank you so much for speaking to us here in the Aussie Wire.
Pleasure.
Cheers.